So we're going to take this mesh out here in Photoshop, and this mesh has already been tiled as a repeat pattern. But you can see here there's the seam in the center of this white area of this sandwich mesh. And what I want to do is knock this area out so that it'll only trap this blue and use the blue part of the mesh, and this center area will be nothing will be here, so you'll be able to see through it into what any sort of color or second material that you have underneath. So all we're going to do here is just take our eraser tool, and with your settings you can have this soft settings or hard settings as far as edges. And I'm going to start off by just erasing through, and you can kind of see that's kind of like a feathered edge. So just keep going, and if you really want to see what's happening underneath, you can actually make a new layer, drag that below, and you can actually fill this with, I can use black, I can use any color that I'd like. You can pick from the swatches window. Let's use red so that we can actually see what's going on, and that'll fill it with red, as you can see. So we can go back to our layer here, keep erasing until red shows up and shows through. And you want to be able to do this from all sides. And if you want to make sure that this location here is the same as that, you can take your guide, and these points should align up. So I can drop one there. Notice right here I'm inside of that, so you want to line that up fairly close, because you'll get some imperfections once this tiles. And then I can just double check, make sure my positioning is the same here, and also I can go horizontally. So you can see here, this side here, there's actually some blue that is showing up a little higher here, so I'm just going to go ahead and erase that. And do the same down here. You can see that this area here is just a little bit off. So I'm just going to erase that. Alright, so now that you have this, you can take this layer, we can delete that, and that's your object now. So let's save this file in Photoshop. We want to save it with a transparent see-through area. So if you go here, and we can set up to PNG, and then if you activate the transparency, you can see actually it's going to do it with, it's going to save it with that transparent effect. If you don't have this active, it's going to save it with a white, and it's not going to do what we wanted it to actually do. So hit transparency, save, and I'm just going to save this as blue see-through. Alright, now this saved, and we'll go into Illustrator, and I'm going to open up the PNG that I just saved. So now we have our material here, and let's see if this is actually see-through. So there you go. So now we have our see-through material that has a hole in it. And what we can do with this, I'm just going to scale this down a little bit, and you can drag that into our swatches here. And note on this file, when we opened this up, there were no swatches in here. So this is the first one we're going to place in here. And by doing that swatch, we can again do any sort of shape that we like, and it's going to fill that with the color that we currently have selected. So let's delete that. So we have pink selected right now. Let's fill that with our mesh. And I want to actually scale this down, so I'm going to click the S key, hold shift and serif down. I'm just going to click the cursor here and drag to get my mesh the correct size. Now this is see-through, so let's put a material behind here and let's just give it a gradient. And I'm going to go from my gradient tool just from light to dark, and maybe I use a little bit of a color here. Change that to CMYK. We can go from kind of like a purple, or actually let's do orange to black here. And you want to arrange this and send that to the back. And now you can see that, zoom in closer here, you can see that the material that we have on the back behind this actually shows through pretty nicely, so you can have a gradient going all the way to a darker color. And what this allows you to do is, if you're working with multiple layers and you wanted to, for example, add a let's say we wanted to add some sort of webbing underneath this, and let's say our webbing is a red color. You can actually place this underneath that, and you can start to see how the layering effect is applied here. So, you know, I'd encourage you to really use this function, because this can really give your design some depth and really cool effects. And this is definitely a useful tool when trying to show some layering effects. So this was showing you how to use Photoshop, bringing it into Illustrator, and creating a sandwich, a mesh that has an open center area. It's tiled, it's under our swatches, and just showing you how to do layering with this mesh.